Welcome back to the Coach Dad podcast, where we talk faith, family, and the mindset it takes to raise champions on and off the field. I'm your host, Mama Rush, and I'm glad you're here. This one's about the waiting season, the part of the story nobody prays for and everybody needs. Waiting has a way of shining a black light on our faith, our friendships, and our habits. Who's truly with you when the applause is gone? What voices are you letting in your ear? And can you trust God when nothing changes yet? Today, we're talking about death before the new, dying to our will, our preference, our old ways, so that the next chapter can live. Let's get into it. Hey, Coach Dad.
How goes it?
How goes it? Well, let's start by talking about any updates that we've had from the week.
Well, our team, our high school team, won its first playoff game. David had a big catch leading to a touchdown.
Yay.
So that was always that's always a plus.
Yeah, that was fun. We didn't do any major traveling, which was really nice. Well, as I am looking at our production notes, we've got a lot to get to, so let's just get right into it. Now, I saw something in my notes that said God's black light. You called waiting God's black light.
Mm-hmm.
It reveals what was already there. Talk to us about that. I mean, explain it to us, because I actually don't even have context to it.
All right. So when you think of a black light, it reveals things that you can't see with the naked eye. Whether it's lint on clothes or some imperfection.
Or the most diabolical thing in
Well,
southern Arizona, which
right,
is
scorpions.
scorpions. When I think of a black light, I think about the black light that we have on the counter that we use in the summertime.
Right.
So yes, okay, I see the analogy.
Yes. So one of the things when I say that it's God's black light, it reveals where we are within our faith, where we are within our friendships, where we are within our relationships. And one of the things that it showed me is, one, we don't really effectively teach our children to wait. And in that waiting, how to be introspective, how to begin to work on themselves, and how to begin to look at the things that's going on around them. So when I talk about friendships,
Mm-hmm.
how do you know if you have a friendship that is reciprocal instead of transactional?
Oh my gosh. I think that some adults could help with that,
Oh,
because I
oh,
mean, this you don't gain that skill for well into your adulthood, I think.
so when we talk about who's on the bus,
Okay,
while they're waiting, while they're going through their preparation,
right,
we need to be preparing them for who they surround themselves with.
right.
Because they can either be a knucklehead or they could be, someone that is a leader, a model. But if you don't surround yourself with those kind of kids, you're going to become just like whoever the people are you surround yourself
You're going to
with.
become what your environment is.
Right. And then more importantly, are you in a even exchange relationship with it, whatever that friendship is, or is it just for what they can get out of you? And the moment they can't get something out of you, then you're no good.
Hmm.
So is it reciprocal or transactional?
And is there any benefit to having transactional relationships?
You know, transactional relationships are going to be a part of life,
They're probably like just for a season.
but those are not friendships.
Right.
When you start thinking about who you bring in close to your circle, those relationships are reciprocal, where we both get something out of this versus just me using you. Like the little TikTok song that I've been listening to.
I hear you invoke TikTok, and I think Michelle would be mortified.
Mortified.
She's always like, stay off TikTok, you guys.
But now when we go into our faith, one of the things that we're constantly having to talk to our older boys about is being introspective and working on their own belief system that, helps strengthen them through the waiting season. Looking at, where am I in this process? And am I really trusting God to get me to that next place while I'm being developed, while I'm being worked on, while I'm in this cocoon, if you will.
Yeah.
And so when we started talking about that black light, that waiting, it shows us
It
where we are.
exposes.
It
Yeah.
exposes.
Ah, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
And so I see here in my notes, how do we teach our kids to wait well instead of numbing out?
Huh. Waiting well is actively waiting,
Actively waiting?
waiting with expectation,
Mm.
not just waiting just to get through. Waiting with expectation means I'm doing all the things to work on myself. I'm preparing my body, preparing my mind.
But you're preparing for an end goal.
For an end goal.
But sometimes that's hard because the default is, listen, I'm waiting. I don't really want to have any expectations because I don't want to be let down.
But that's not faith.
That's
And
not
we're
faith.
trying to teach them to walk in faith and walking with an expectation that there will be an end, a result, a desirable result that they're looking for.
This is actually a really good segue into the next question. So, in a waiting season, last seen commentators show up with opinions. How do you keep new voices from overruling the people who've carried us?
So let's first explain last scene commentators because TD Jakes famously said, "Don't let somebody show up in the last scene of the movie of your life with an opinion of what you should do or where you are
Right.
when they have no context of what it took to get to this place
Exactly.
where you are." And so, as it pertains to our children, as we talked about in the last podcast, those check-ins, checking their barometer, seeing where they are in their headspace, because you can hear who's been talking to them through their conversation.
That's true. Absolutely.
Because they begin to talk like the people they talk to. So when they're surrounded by doubters, you hear doubt in conversation.
So then how do we keep new voices from overruling the people who've carried us?
Because we keep reiterating what our message is, what our voices, meaning what our belief is,
Right.
and that they need to be actively waiting, actively believing, and keeping them strong mentally to get them to the next place. And when we hear the voice of other people's through our check-ins and our conversations, we quickly douse that fire. And so when you start thinking about who's in their ear, who they've allowed to the bus, when we talk about who's on the bus,
Who's on the bus?
right? We need to be screening who's on the bus
We as parents.
as parents. That's our responsibility. Child has no idea who should be on the bus. Hey, you look cool. Come on, jump on the bus. No. Have a seat. You get off.
I love it. You beat it.
You're right. Beat it. This is not going to work for where we're trying to go.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I recall having conversations, being in conversations as we've talked to the boys when they were still in high school, like, hey, if this is what you're saying that you want, then this is not gonna.
Now,
This is not the direction.
This is going to be controversial because you know me.
Yes, I do.
Listen, I've excluded family members
Yes.
from speaking into their ear.
Correct.
I've excluded friends from speaking into their ear.
Yes.
If you don't promote the belief that God has set out for this family, not a problem. This is not the bus for you.
Right. No,
not personal.
Not personal.
Doesn't mean I don't love you. You can't ride this bus.
Right. If that's fair.
This bus has a destination. And unless your conversation is going in that destination, hey, you can't be in
That's
their
fair.
ear, boss.
Who's going to advocate for your family if you don't?
Yeah. It's controversial for some people because some people don't like to tell their family no. Some people don't like to tell close friends no. So, I have no problem.
It's funny because this is an audio podcast, obviously, but as I'm looking into your eyes, you are, yes. If you were hooked up to a lie detector test, it would
if
be
we
like,
could go
yep,
all
that's
the way
true.
back to when they were children. I didn't let everybody
That's
pick up
true.
our child and let everybody
Oh,
just be,
man.
let me kiss. No, you're not just kissing the baby. What are you talking about? You mean wash your hands. Where are you going?
You
No.
really, I remember the uncomfortableness as we brought a brand new baby home, and you'd be like, "Oh no, no one's. I hope you didn't come over to pick up the baby. I hope you didn't come over to touch the baby because that ain't happening." You're
God
so
doing it.
funny. Oh my gosh. You're very comfortable in your own skin.
Mhm.
God is good. All right. Oh, you got me off of my notes here. That was funny. All right, let me go into this next question then. In my notes it says here, you wrote this in the note. While you're in your waiting season, death must occur to your will, your understanding, and your old self. Walk us through practical deaths, quote unquote, a parent or athlete can choose this week. Like, why does putting away childish things, as in 1 Corinthians 13:11, sound like in real life?
So when you think about that, when I was a child, I acted as a child. But when I became a man,
Right.
I put away childish things. It just doesn't apply to childhood and childhood behavior, but childhood baggage. We were listening to rather an audio book
Audiobook.
where one of the things that she said is her daughter's going to be the first generation free from the baggage that came from the previous generations.
Right.
Rather 3 generations came before her. They were all stricken with the same abuse,
Yes.
stricken with the same um, destruction,
Oppression.
oppression,
Yep.
all those things. And I know you, as parents, we catch ourselves speaking like the generation before us.
Yeah.
And some of that's good, but not all of it was. And make sure during that waiting season, you're not bringing that into the new season. Same thing with children. The way you thought when you were 10, you can't think like that now at 14,
Right.
at 15. Now that you're getting ready to go to college, whatever that is, you have to change those thoughts, those behaviors. All that has to die. It can't go into the new place that you're trying to go. And a part of why you're in the waiting season, because you're in the preparation season.
Mm-hmm.
You're being prepared to go to that new place.
Okay, this is the question that I have been waiting for after I read these production notes. You said the silence can be louder than the applause. And when the door finally opens, fear creeps in because now you have to maintain the new. How do we prepare our kids for the pressure of answered prayers?
All right. So the first thing, let's go. Silence is louder than the applause,
Yes.
because when you get to the new place, you start the process all over again, where you're being prepared all over to exist in this new place that you've never been before.
That kind of makes me think of the boys. In high school, it's such a small area, your name being well known, people know about you, and then going off to college and being literally like a grain of sand among tons of talent, you got to start over
And now you got to learn all those things again, all those
all over
friendships, all
again.
those relationships. Who's on the bus? Who's in your ear? Who's helping you during the preparation? Who's there walking with you through the grind instead of who's only there when they're applauding, when you got a finished product? Who's there for the cooking?
Oh, wow.
Or who's only there to sit down and eat?
Right. That that sounds like the making of a
Well,
t-shirt. I don't
making
know
of a
how we got
shirt.
to
Yeah,
figure
I
the
don't know how
logistics of
we.
that. So going off of that, what disciplines travel with us so we don't lose what we begged God for?
So I don't know if this is a discipline, but it's a necessity of faith. Your faith begins all over again because you're at the bottom of the totem pole.
Right.
You're at the bottom of the heap, and now you got to work your way through it. And people assume because you were so lauded and celebrated in high school that now you're at this next level. You're no one.
Right.
Everybody there was
You're,
celebrating.
you're you're starting over.
You're starting over, and now you're not just rather you're not just dealing with um, the ability to play, but you got to learn a new system. You got to operate within the politics of everything that's going on. You got to be able to navigate that you are 18 years old, but there's a guy over here that's 23, that's 22 that you're competing with.
Right.
And now, how do you mesh all those things together? And it begins that faith walk all over again. You go through that waiting season. You go through who's on the bus. You go through who you're surrounding yourself with. How do you strengthen yourself during a time where you're starting over? And it feels like, I thought I made it, but now it begins again. And just like getting a new job, a new relationship, um, whatever this thing that you've been waiting for, when you finally get it, that process of faith begins all over again, because the faith that it took to get there was great for that season, but the faith to stay there is going to be different. The faith to excel there is going to be different.
Right.
And now you're going through that preparation to stay where you are, to exist where you are. And that's a whole nother process altogether.
And how do you find contentment through those different processes?
I'm glad you said contentment, because one of the things I try to teach the boys, and I don't want to be sexist, but one of the things that we desire as men is peace.
Peace.
You got to find peace where you are, because, and again, in our roles,
Right.
men spend a lot of time trying to make everybody happy.
Right.
You want children to have what they need to be happy. You want your wife to have what she needs to be happy. But at the end of the day, we want peace. I want to be able to just exhale and exist for a second so I can catch my breath, because I got another journey to go into.
Right.
If that makes sense.
It does.
And everyone can get to that place. I'm just using men as an example. So please forgive me if I'm a chauvinist right now.
Feel free to just speak freely.
Yes.
We have an important perspective. We're Gen Xers. We're not like the new school Gen Z. And it is a contrast, but we have an important perspective, and you should feel comfortable to speak freely.
Yeah.
So I think that's a valuable conversation. You said to me along those same lines just yesterday, something that was so profound for me. You talked about happiness for men. What did you say about that?
Well, for us, happiness is fleeting.
Right.
That's not something that we necessarily, at least a mature man, is not necessarily looking for happiness. He's simply looking for peace.
But what did you say? You said happiness is for you.
Right.
Pointing towards me. And that was profound. So speak on that.
Because we often find happiness in making sure that we've provided, that I provided you the happiness that you're looking for, that provided the children the happiness that they're looking for.
Right.
And so now that everybody's happy, I'm happy just having peace.
You just want peace.
That's it.
I love you so much. Oh my gosh. That's awesome. I mean, I'm glad that you brought that up. I think it's an important conversation. And we're wrapped up. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. I really appreciate this conversation. That wraps up today's conversation on waiting well. If you're in a quiet place right now, you're not being punished. You're being prepared. Guard your ear. Choose your circle and let the old you die so the new can breathe. If this helped, share it with a parent or teammate who needs it. You can find past episodes and resources at podpage.com/coach-dad. That's dad with 3 Ds. And remember, dedication fuels you. Discipline shapes you. Development carries you. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment wherever you're listening. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.